Good morning, students. 9th Standard Social Science History Lesson 2 Continuation. Mesopotamian Civilizations. Mesopotamia refers to the region of Iraq and Kuwait in West Asia. Several kingdoms emerged around the city-states of this region from the early 3rd millennium BC. The Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian civilizations flourished in Mesopotamia. Geography of the Mesopotamia. In the Greek language, Meso means in between and Potamus means river. The Euphrates and Tigris rivers flow here and drain into the Persian Gulf. Since this area is in between two rivers, so it is known as Mesopotamia. The northern part of Mesopotamia is known as Assyria and the southern part it is called Babylonia. The Sumerians. The oldest civilization in Mesopotamia belongs to the Sumerians. The Sumerians were the contemporaries of the people of Indus and Egyptian civilizations. These civilizations had trade connections. The Sumerians settled in the lower Tigris Valley around 5000 to 4000 BC. They were believed to have originated from Central Asia. They founded many cities and Nippur was one of the important cities. They developed the cuneiform writing system. Then second, the Acadians. The Acadians dominated Sumeria briefly from 2450 to 2250 BC. The Sargon of Akkad was a famous ruler. In the cuneiform records of Acadians, mention is made about the Indus civilization. The documents of the Sargon of Akkad refers to the ships from Meluha, Mahan and Dilmun in the Qua of Akkad. Look at this picture, map of the ancient lands of Mahan, Dilmun, Meluha. These are the places. The city of Akkad later became the city of Babylon, a commercial and cultural center of West Asia. The third civilization here it is the Babylonians. The Semitic people called Amorites from the Arabian desert moved into Mesopotamia. They were known as the Babylonians as they established a kingdom and made Babylon its capital. By the time of the king Hammurabi, they extended their domination to the western part of Mesopotamia. The powerful states of Ur and Babylon controlled this region. The hero Gilgamesh, referred to in the first ever epic on the earth, may have been a king of Sumeria. Hammurabi, the sixth king of Babylon, belonging to the first Amorite dynasty, attained fame as a great lawmaker. The next civilization in Mesopotamian, the Assyrian. The Assyrian Empire was politically active in Mesopotamia around 1000 BC. The Assyrian kings were the priests of Ashur, the chief deity of Assyria. The Assyrian government was controlled by the emperor and the provincial governors were appointed by the emperor to administer provinces. Ashur was the capital city of Assyria. Ashurbanipal was a popular ruler of the late or Neo-Assyrian Empire. He maintained a famous library of cuneiform records. The Assyrians worshipped the deity of Lamashu for protection. Look at this picture, the stone image of Lamashu. Then Mesopotamia and its cities. Society, state and administration. The Sumerian civilization had many city-states. A typical Sumerian city was surrounded by cultivable lands. The fortified Sumerian cities had the temples called ziggurats as its center. The temple was controlled by the priest. The temples acted as storehouses of the taxed commodities. Cultivable lands were owned by the kings and the higher classes of people in the hierarchy. Ziggurat of Ur. The Assyrian Empire was the first military state in history. They emerged militarily powerful because they were the earliest to use iron technology effectively. Food and agriculture. Agriculture was the main occupation of the Mesopotamians. They had developed irrigation systems, for ensuring the availability of water for agriculture. Trade and exchange. Trade was an important economic activity of the Mesopotamian society. Traders assisted in the exchange of goods procured from the porters and artisans. They traded with Syria and Asia Minor in the west, and in Iraq, Iran and Indus Valley civilization in the east. They traveled in ships across the seas for trade. Next, cities and town planning. The Mesopotamian cities featured mud or baked brick walls with gates. Religion. The Sumerian religion was polytheistic. They worshipped several gods and goddesses. The Sumerians prayed to Enlil, the god of sky and wind. The city of Nippur was center of Enlil's worship. Ninlin was a Sumerian goddess of grain. The Babylonians worshipped Marduk, and Ashur was the supreme god of the Assyrians. The Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi was a Mesopotamian king who recorded a system of laws called the Code of Hammurabi. He ordered 282 laws engraved in stone and placed in a public location for everyone to see. The Hammurabi Code is an important legal document that specifies the laws related to the various crimes. It is carved on a stone which portrays Hammurabi as receiving the code from the sun god Shamash. It was a completion of old laws based on retributive principles. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth form a justice is used in the Hammurabi's code. Cuneiform, the Sumerian writing system. Cuneiform is a Sumerian writing system. The shape of the letter is in the form of wedge and hence it is called cuneiform. Mesopotamian art included sculptures in stone and clay. A few paintings and sculptures from the Mesopotamian times have survived today. Now let us see the short video on Mesopotamian civilization.
Story of writing, astronomy, and law. The story of civilization itself begins in one place. Not Egypt, not Greece, not Rome, but Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is an exceedingly fertile plain situated between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. For 5 millennia, this small strip of land situated in what is today Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria fostered innovations that would change the world forever. Inhabited for nearly 12,000 years, Mesopotamia's stable climate, rich soil, and steady supply of fresh water made it ideal for agriculture to develop and thrive. About 6,000 years ago, seemingly overnight, some of these agricultural settlements blossomed into some of the world's first cities. In the period between 4000 and 3100 BC, Mesopotamia was dotted with a constellation of competing city-states. At one point, they were unified under the Akkadian Empire and then broke apart, forming the empires of Assyria and Babylon. Despite near constant warfare, innovation and development thrived in ancient Mesopotamia. They built on a monumental scale, from palaces to ziggurats. Mammoth temples served as ritual locations to commune with the gods. They also developed advanced mathematics, including a base 60 system that created a 60-second minute, a 60-minute hour, and a 360-degree circular angle. The Babylonians used their sophisticated system of mathematics to map and study the sky. They divided one Earth year into 12 periods. Each was named after the most prominent constellations in the heavens, a tradition later adopted by the Greeks to create the zodiac. They also divided the week into 7 days, naming each after their 7 gods, embodied by the 7 observable planets in the sky. But perhaps the most impactful innovation to come out of Mesopotamia is literacy. What began as simple pictures scrawled onto wet clay to keep track of goods and wealth developed into a sophisticated writing system by the year 3200 BC. This writing system would come to be called Cuneiform in modern times and proved so flexible that, over the span of 3,000 years, It would be adapted for over a dozen different major languages and countless uses, including recording the law of the Babylonian king Hammurabi, which formed the basis of a standardized justice system. But Mesopotamia's success became its undoing. Babylon, in particular, proved too rich a state to resist outside envy. In 539 BC, the Persian king Cyrus conquered Babylon and sealed his control over the entirety of Mesopotamia. For centuries, this area became a territory of foreign empires. Eventually, Mesopotamia would fade, like its kings, into the mist of history, and its cities would sink beneath the sands of Iraq. But its ideas would prevail in literacy, law, math, astronomy, and the gift of civilization itself.
Students, the video highlighted the Mesopotamian civilization. Now we'll see the contributions of the Mesopotamian civilization. The invention of the potter's wheel is credited to the Sumerians. They developed the calendar system of 360 days and divided a circle into 360 units. The cuneiform system of writing was their contribution. The Hammurabi's code was another legacy of the Mesopotamians.